my name is Christina Ohm, and I'm going to explain the skeletal system to you today. So here we have the human skeleton. It has 206 bones and two subdivisions, the axial and appendicular skeletons. The axial skeleton includes all the bones in the skull, the hyoid bone, the thorax, and the spine. The appendicular skeleton has the bones of the upper extremities, pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle, and the lower extremities. We're going to start with the axial skeleton, and we're actually going to start with the cranium, which houses the brain, and it is made up of 8 bones. There's the frontal or forehead bone, the parietal bones, the temporal bones, the occipital bone, and the sphenoid bone, which is the floor of the cranial cavity. We also have the ethmoid bone, which is an irregular shaped bone that helps make up the floor of the cranial cavity and part of the eye sockets and upper part of the nasal cavity. And then we have the face, which consists of 14 bones, such as nasal bones, lacrimal bones, vomer bone, the zygomatic bones, you can see them right here, the palatine bones, the maxillary bone, and the mandible. The skull also contains tiny ear bones called the auditory ossicles. So we have here the malleus, incus, and the stapes. The hyoid bone is a horseshoe-shaped bone in the cervical region, just above the voice box. It's unique because it doesn't have another bone to articulate with. Then we have the bones of the spinal column. We have an example right here, and these are all called vertebrae. There are 26 of them, and they form the spine. The upper 7 are the cervical vertebrae, the middle 12 are the thoracic vertebrae, and the bottom 5 are called the lumbar vertebrae. And then if we look back here, the axial skeleton also includes the thorax, or the chest area. It consists of the thoracic vertebrae, the ribs, we have here, and the sternum. The sternum is considered a single bone, but was originally 3 segments during development: the manubrium, the gladiolus, and the xiphoid process. Then there are the ribs, a total of 12 pairs. The upper 7 pairs are called true ribs because they articulate with the sternum. The bottom 5 pairs don't attach directly to the sternum and are called false ribs. 8, 9, and 10 have cartilages which attach them to the rib above, but the 11 and 12th rib have no interior cartilages and are called floating ribs. Now let's move on to the appendicular skeleton. So there are 126 bones in the appendicular skeleton. The pectoral girdle includes the scapula, or shoulder blades, and the clavicles, or the collarbones. The scapula includes the acromion, which articulates with the clavicle, and the coracoid process, which is an anchor point for several muscles. Then there is the humerus, we have that right here and right here, which connects to the scapula by the head, right here and right here, to form the shoulder joint. The inferior end of the humerus contains humeral condyles, which articulate the radius and ulna to form the forearm bones. Ulna and the radius right here. And these attach to carpals, which are the wrist bones. And then just beyond that, we have the metacarpals, which are the hand bones. There are 8 carpals in each wrist and 5 metacarpals in each hand. Then we have the phalanges, or the fingers. Every finger has a row of 3, except for the thumbs, which have just 2. And we call these the proximal, middle, and distal phalanges. Now we'll move on to the hip bones, or the os coxa. They make up the pelvic girdle. Like the sternum, it was originally 3 separate pieces that fused together. They were the ilium, iliac crest, and the ischium. This here is the femur, or the thigh. The superior femoral head articulates with the os coxa, right up here. The inferior anterior end of the femur articulates with the patella, or the kneecap, right here and right here. The patella is an important attachment for many leg muscles. It is also a sesamoid bone because it's embedded in tendon. The femur's inferior end articulates with the tibia, or the shin bone, as you can see right here and right here. It is the medial bone of the lower leg. The fibula is the lateral bone of the lower leg. And then we have the tarsals, which are around the ankle. And just below the tarsals are the metatarsals, which are the feet bone. There are 7 tarsals in each ankle, and there are 5 in each metatarsals in each foot. And then just below that we have the phalanges. There are 14 phalanges in each foot, much like the fingers. So in total, we actually have 56 phalanges out of the 206 classified bones. And that is the end of the talk. Thank you.